President William Ruto on Monday ordered a joint security exercise between the National Police Service and the Kenya Defence Forces as the government ramps up fight against banditry in the troubled North Rift region. The move comes a day after he ordered Interior Affairs Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki to relocate the North Rift until all acts of banditry have been quelled. Speaking during a meeting with the local leaders at the Nakuru State Lodge, President William Ruto said his government has extensively strategized on fighting banditry in the coming days.
Nilikuwa Baringo, nilikuwa Turkana, nilikuwa Samburu. Watu wengi wamepoteza mifugo yao, wamepoteza maisha yao. Na ndio leo nimeambia waziri wa defense, nimeambia waziri wa internal security waketi chini, hiyo area yote ambaye tuko naye na matatizo. Tumesema from tomorrow everybody mwenye ako na bunduki ambayo sio halali, ambayo hajapatiwa na serikali, they must surrender in 3 days.
According to President Ruto, for long, the area has been under frequent bandit attacks whereby till this moment, 15 schools in the region have not yet been opened and several police vehicles burnt down. As a result, the head of state has issued an order giving out 3 days for voluntary disarmament exercise starting on Tuesday.
Tukiongea mashule karibu 15 hayajafunguliwa. Tukiongea magari ya polisi imechomwa juzi kule Turkana. Na tumesema kwa sababu wale watu wamekuwa wajeuri, wamekuwa na kiburi mingi. From tomorrow we are moving into that area and we will not leave that area until every illegal gun has been returned, until all children have gone to school, until we have stopped this menace. Na kuanzia kesho tutakuwa na polisi pale, tutakuwa na wanajeshi pale. So tunataka kuambia watu wenye wanapenda amani, kama uko na bunduki ambayo hujapatiwa leseni na serikali, rudisha.
Cattle rustlers and bandits have wreaked havoc in the country's North Rift region, leading to the loss of hundreds of lives, displacement of residents, and loss of thousands of livestock. The most affected counties are Baringo, Turkana, and Elgeyo Marakwet. Just 2 days ago, 6 people, among them 4 police officers, lost their lives in a bandit attack on Kitale-Lodwar Highway at Kakong area of Turkana County, and the latest incident being on Sunday, whereby a primary school teacher was sexually assaulted by 4 bandits. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa 19 million anti-corruption charges were withdrawn after DPP presented amended charge sheet before Mombasa Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuku, with Aisha Jumwa's name missing from the charge sheet. Jumwa, who was a member of parliament for Malindi, was facing charge of illegally obtaining 19 million Kenya shillings through the head of prosecution Alex Akula. The DPP's office informed Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuku that it has received orders to withdraw the case against Jumwa, who is the first defendant in the case. However, the case of the 8 others the CS nominee was charged with will continue. Jumwa's lawyers, led by Jared Magoro, welcomed the move and further sought an apology from the government for the charges pressed against her. Justice Mutuku ordered that the case be mentioned to allow the other 8 defendants to be re-indicated.
Immediate level, KIHBT/RC/0020, Akabat Katana Count 8, in respect of on about 25th May 2018 at Malindi NGCDF offices in Malindi Sub-County, Kilifi County, within the Republic of Kenya, knowingly and fraudulently uttered 4 documents, namely curriculum, that on the reading of the court's 8 and 11 or 8, the court made an order on recall.
Members of parliament who went to State House were after their own interests. This is according to the Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga, who spoke during the Azimio People's Baraza Busia edition in Busia on Sunday. The former Prime Minister said the visit to State House was never meant for any development purpose, as the previously claimed by the MPs, adding the Azimio is still intact. Kabila with the full report.
Busia hoy! Mama hai!
The Azimio Party leader Raila Odinga on Sunday denounced claims that the Azimio Party is tearing apart. This came a week after a section of members of parliament from the Nyanza region made a courtesy call to the State House for a consultative meeting with President William Ruto following his recent visit to the region. Speaking during the Azimio People's Baraza Busia edition in Busia County, Raila added that the visit by the members of parliament was never meant for development but for their personal benefits.
Ati wewe unaitwa Ikulu. Atakwenda njoo Ikulu, ationgea juu ya mambo ya maendeleo. Kenda kule hapo 50,000, 100,000. Anasema mimi nilienda kuongea mambo ya maendeleo ya constituency yangu. Bure. Uongo. Hakuna maendeleo katika Ikulu. Wanasema ati sasa ati Azimio na Zabaratika, wabunge wa Azimio wameenda kama leo wako Nakuru.
Umalaya wa kisiasa. Unachaguliwa na tikiti Azimio, vyama ambavyo ni wanachama Azimio, unaenda bunge na wewe unaharibu heshima ambayo wananchi wa Kenya walikupatia. Hawa wananchi wako na haki kunyakua mamlaka kutoka kwako.
Sisi kama vuguvugu la Azimio hatuna haja na idadi ya wajumbe. Tuko na haja na wananchi, na wananchi ni nyinyi. Wangapi wamesema ya kwamba wale ambao wamekubali kununuliwa waende.
In a quick rejoinder at a Thanksgiving service in Nakuru, President William Ruto again opened his arms to leaders outside the government to work with him. Ruto said he will work with anyone, despite criticism from opposition, adding that Kenyans voted for him across all regions, breaking the pattern of tribalism, and he will do the same in serving all counties.
Tunaelewana ndugu zangu. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niwaambie wale wote wako tayari kufanya kazi na sisi, tuko tayari kufanya kazi na wao, kwa sababu nia yetu sio kupanga siasa. Nia yetu ni kupanga maendeleo ya taifa letu la Kenya kwa manufaa ya wananchi wote wa taifa la Kenya.
At least 9 Nyanza members of parliament and 32 Jubilee leaders held talks with Ruto in a move that was strongly condemned by Azimio coalition members. Azimio la Umoja has upheld its position that it will not tolerate any acts of betrayal from any elected members. The leader of opposition has also maintained his claims that he won the August 9 presidential elections, adding that he does not recognize the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Kwa hivyo yeye amechapisha tu ati counties. Naambia yeye toa ile ya constituencies. Ikitoka mtaona kwamba Bwana Ruto alishindwa. Ndio sababu sisi kwa Azimio tunasema hatutambui Bwana Ruto kama rais wa Kenya. We do not recognize him. And I'm challenging him because he knows he did not win. He knows he cannot win. And that's the reason why tunasema sisi kama Azimio tunataka kusimama na wananchi.
According to Martha Karua, Kenyans must come together to fight against the high cost of living. She further stated that the government is misusing taxes, including the privatization of state corporations. Yet the taxpayers are still experiencing tough times.
Sasa nawauliza, muko tayari kulipa gharama? Mutangojea maovu ya tawale Kenya? Muko tayari? Wewe unaambiwa ulipe kodi ya juu na mabwenyenye wako na makesi ya kodi wameondolewa. Wewe ndio utawabeba wewe. Wanaendelea kunyakua ardhi yetu, wale wako kotini wameondolewa mashtaka, waendelee kunyanyasa mwananchi. Hatuwezi kukubali hayo kamwe.
Ya pili, anasema anataka kuuza state corporation including Kenya Pipeline. Ngoja niwaambie, tuko hii malori yote mnaona hapa, si ni ya mafuta? Ikisimama hapa, uchumi ya hapa mnapata kitu, si ndio? Wanataka kuuza Kenya Pipeline, na pipeline ni ile ambaye inashikilia ile usao ya nchi, yani peace, ile security. Mtu akikata kidogo atapigwa na rungu mingi sana. Ngoja ndakuonesha.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition has been persistent in holding a series of anti-Ruto rallies across the country. This was one of the series of rallies the coalition has lined up to pile pressure on President William Ruto's government against what they term as unpopular policies to lower the cost of living. Azimio will continue to pile up pressure on the Kenya Kwanza government through its re-energized anti-Ruto rallies across the country. Only time will tell if the president will bow down to the pressure or he will remain steadfast, as his brigade has been quoted saying. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Once again, thank you for joining this live broadcast. And of course, remember tonight we'll be talking about the Education Task Force. And do keep your comments coming in on your thoughts on the same. What should the Education Task Force prioritize? Keep the comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. And of course, on that note, let's take our first quick commercial break.
Welcome to Mahanaim International High School. Are you worried about the character of your child? Mahanaim is the best Christian and character building school and offer British National Curriculum, IGCSE O-Level and GCE A-Level, and mixed day and boarding school. For more inquiry, call 0710 111 333.
We need to have social places for our older people, and that brought me to having a center, this center where older people come together and they share their experiences.
The founder for an organization called Imarisha Jamii.
I'm the founder, Karika. Karika is an acronym of Kenyan Aged People Require Information, Knowledge and Advancement.
What prompted you for you to think about the elderly and how they are aging and how your organization is helping them to age with dignity?
We are all human beings, created as social animals.
And some of them are depression. And Mr. Elijah would agree with me, it is common because he has covered a broad group of people.
Your organization, is it a place like the home of the elderly, or it's an organization where they just come in, talk, socialize, make friends, because even them want to make friends?
It's a daycare center where they come every day. How do we gift our older people? How do we surprise them?
How the government should come in, and Mr. Jack wanted to support on the same.
Yes. Taken to Sunday schools, and we were taught of Ephesians chapter 6. Ye children, obey your parents. This is the first commandment with a promise.
There are many opportunities for young people out here. So from doing web design, from doing graphic design, making posters, doing branding and such things. So it's like a doorway to the technology world. And when young people come in, especially youth, it's so easy for them because these are computer types of learnings. And computer types of learnings are good with young people because they can think fast, they can learn quickly. And it's a good opportunity to open up young people to the world of graphic design and also to the world of...
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News and now moving forward, stories making headlines. The Teacher Service Commission has come under fire for failing to halt the localization of teachers following passage of motion to that effect in the National Assembly in November last year. Members of Parliament unanimously on November 3rd approved the motion sponsored by Lurambi Member of Parliament Titus Kamara on review of teacher deployment policy, saying the localization has disrupted the lives of teachers through arbitrary transfers. Manyata MP said it was wrong for the Teacher Service Commission to disobey the directive, saying he had received numerous complaints from teachers in the area whose requests for transfers back home had not been acted upon. He said the deployment policy was inconsistent with the Constitution requirement on the public participation, as the teachers were not involved in its formulation. The legislature called for action to be taken against any Teacher Service Commission office withholding transfer of teachers to their home area.
Hapa hakuna mtu hata moja na maneno nimesikia mingi sana kwa walimu wetu, na nimesikia walimu wa Manyata wana apply transfer kutoka Kitui, Meru na kwingine, lakini hawapewi transfer zao. Na nataka kueleza TSC, tafadhali, tulipitisha mswada bunge, tukasema mwalimu afai kuwekwa mahali pale ataki kuwa. Ningeomba TSC ifuate masharti ile tuliwapea, kwa sababu delocalization ya walimu tulisema isifanywe kama mwalimu ana sheria yake. Walimu wengi wetu wamekuwa mauko Kitui, wana apply kurudi hii upande ya Embu, inakataliwa. It is very important that TSC ifuate sheria, ipee walimu mahali pale wanafaa kuwa. Familia mingi sana zimekuwa broken. Watu mmoja alikuwa ananieleza ni mgonjwa kutoka Kirinyaga, lakini yeye ni mgonjwa bwana ako Machakos. Inakuwa shida kushikilia familia yako pamoja. TSC should obey the law na wapee walimu, warudishe walimu kwenye wanafaa kuwa.
Competency-based curriculum task force will submit higher education recommendations this week. Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms to present recommendations made to the university education subsector this week, where they will submit the recommendations to President William Ruto 6 months after it was formed to engage the public and recommend on what to be done better the system in historic way. Let's take a look.
The next thing you ask yourself is,
6 months after its formation to oversee public participation and collect views on the new education curriculum, CBC, and advise the government on how to approach its implementation, Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms will present recommendations made to the university education subsector this week, where they will submit the recommendations to the President thereafter in March. The direct over-involvement of parents in the competency-based curriculum, coupled with the overall cost of running the program, has raised public uproar. Some schools have been accused of going overboard, asking parents to buy expensive books and giving expensive assignments as an easy way out for the ill-equipped teachers. The unspoken fact in all the arguments and the counter-arguments on the competency-based curriculum is that the concept is not bad.
mtoto anaweza kuja anataka nyama. Shule mzima kama class mzima wako 62. Hizo nyama si ni walimu ndio wanakula hizo nyama. Sasa naona ugumu hapo, but pia ni sawa.
The grey areas and bone of contention revolve around lack of consultation, teacher training, teaching resources and expansion of infrastructure. The task force has been traversing the country collecting views by organizing public meetings on the same. The new Kenya Basic Education Curriculum Framework has been developed to actualize the new reforms in education structured as 2-6-3-3-3 system. The structure is as follows: 2 years of pre-primary school, 3 years of lower primary, 3 years of upper primary, 3 years of lower secondary, 3 years of senior secondary, and 3 years of tertiary education.
Grade 7 students began reporting to their junior secondary school on the 30th of January 2023, marking the beginning of the second phase of the competency-based curriculum. Beatrice Njeri, GBS News.
And that news ushers us to our topic tonight, where we'll be talking about the competency-based curriculum task force. And of course, I am joined virtually by one Wilkista Muiruri, who is an education analyst. And together we'll be going through the topics as well. And of course, do make sure to keep the conversation going and tell us what are your thoughts on the same. What should the task force prioritize? Our SMS line is 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. Good evening, madam. How are you?
Good evening, madam. I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, it is always an honor to have you joining us either live or virtually. And I would just like us to just dive into the task force. The task force, even it is expected to talk about, to give recommendations on higher learning, of course, this week. We have universities. And let's just dive into the whole concept of universities and the students who are in those universities. For many people, universities is meant to prepare people for jobs. But we hear many students coming out of university are half-baked. And in terms of technical things, in terms of theory, they are, of course, have a lot of theory, but in terms of technical and practical things, they are very lacking. What is happening and what ought to be done?
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. About the universities, yes, it is true. We have many half-baked graduates, but I think it is a problem that was created by poor planning. These are the effects that we are feeling. And I think that that's why you find the government reverting back to the technical colleges, which were skipped in the process of planning. And we are having so many graduates going to do even some of the courses that are not even in line with our economic opportunities. So that is why you find a lot of problems. I think the universities first need to do research.
Thank you. Maybe just to hold on that point, madam. Thank you so much. And of course, do make sure to keep the conversation coming in and the conversation flowing as well. And of course, I would like you to continue talking about that, madam, as well. And maybe you can give us, now that you are just given maybe a small statement, and because I'll be expecting a continuity of the same, you can also include on how CBC will intervene to solve this problem in terms of, because CBC has been told it's coming in nurturing of individual talents and skills, promoting a lot ethical principles and national values. Of course, there has been a lot of talk about CBC. How will CBC intervene in this problem? And maybe just continue with what you were saying.
All right, thank you so much. I was saying that the university, we are feeling the effects of poor planning, and there was no proper mapping, and that's why we had a lot of action of the universities. Some are doing resources that are created. And so that is why we are having so many people being released in the job market without the having jobs. There are no jobs around in the market. I think we need to do proper mapping in terms of what do we require as a country, and then all the training should be geared towards the requirements that we have as a nation. I think nobody, or even if they're there could be very little research done on exactly what we need to do. So you'll find students doing some courses that even outside this country, they still cannot get the jobs. There are some courses that were very marketable, maybe in the 80s, in the 90s, but they have been overtaken by events. So we need to properly plan, do research. University should be a research hub. They should do proper research and know exactly what is this that needs to be done. And they should offer courses that are tailor-made for the job market. I think somehow we have failed also as a nation when we expanded the universities. Some of the universities were constituent colleges of the main universities, and they were doing well then. But you will find that every other university is mushrooming, and they are offering courses that are replicated elsewhere, and that is why we are having all these problems. I think the government is trying to even bring the technical courses and the technical colleges aspect into the whole into the whole education system, and I think it is helping. However, in as much as we are talking about training, the universities and all that, we need to diversify our economy. We need to have so many economic activities that every other Kenyan can fit into. I think you'll realize that we have those traditional courses, medicine, education, nursing, and all that. But there are so many other courses that we can do. We probably also do research from other countries, how they do and how they're able to even solve their issue of unemployment. We have a long way to go. Otherwise, we are going to have very many unemployed graduates. We also need to train these graduates to self-employ so that we can have opportunities for them to employ themselves. I think also our education system somehow is geared towards being employed instead of employing yourself. And even when you are learning, I'm sure you are not, you've gone through the school system. I think we are being shown one letter of how to apply for employment, but nobody trained us how to reply for a job employment vacancy. How do you reply now as an employer? We were always trained on how do you apply when you want to be an employee. And I think somehow our education system and even the curriculum, the content has contributed to this mess. So we need to, one, do proper research, do proper mapping, do proper placement of the students themselves. These students, this is an area where we have a deficit, for example, like an area of blue economy. I think it is untapped. We don't even have people who are doing that. So we need courses that are tailor-made to that particular area. If it is engineering, I know so many engineering graduates who are jobless. So why are we continuing training them, releasing them to the job market, yet we are not expanding the economy? I think we need to do proper planning and proper mapping, and we do tailor-made training of our young children and our graduates. On the issue of CBC, the CBC actually, if not also properly handled, might not solve any of our problems. It will actually complicate issues. We might have people with very many skills, and so if everybody has skills, for example, to self-employ, who are they going to sell to? So I think we need also to do proper planning so that we have courses that are also, we can also export our labor to other countries. So apart from now training our graduates to our Kenyan context, we also need to know the areas that have deficits in other countries, like those Scandinavian countries, and also train our students.
Maybe you can hold on to that point even as we move forward to yet another. I would also like you to address the issue, as you're giving the parting shot, you can tell us the issue of the localization of teachers and the way it has, of course, we have people coming out and talking, saying it was wrongly done and the directive that was given was not followed by the Teacher Service Commission. And of course, that was supposed to line the teacher according to the place where they resided. And now we have Manyata MP saying that it was wrong, and other people, of course, are coming up and talking about the delocalization of teacher. Being your teacher yourself, how is the experience and how does it affect a teacher's life?
All right, thank you so much. But I would wish that the issue of delocalization is not politicized. Let the TSC do its work, because if everybody now wants to move from Kitui to Nyeri, what will happen to those schools in Kitui? Let the TSC be allowed to do proper mapping on a needs assessment basis. Where do we need teachers? How do we do it? It is a continuous process. It cannot be one-off, because you know, some of, especially the secondary school teachers are trained, or they are subject specialists. So you might delocalize them or take them back to their home areas, and then those areas that they are coming from, there is a deficit. So you might find some areas are overstaffed, other areas are understaffed. So I think there needs to be proper planning so that we are able to balance in the teachers that we have. Again, on the other issue, it was not entirely a very bad idea of delocalizing teachers, because we have also seen some of the people working in their areas, a lot of clan politics, a lot of village politics, and it was affecting the performance of some of these schools. So you will find that those people who are delocalized, some of
Maybe
them
you
who
can
work in other areas,
sum up
they are
and also give us your parting shot, as time is not on our side. And of course, that was Wilkesta Muiruri, who is an education analyst. And of course, it is always a pleasure to have her joining us, and to keep the conversation going through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. The International Youth Fellowship Weekend Academy held its second post-COVID graduation ceremony on Sunday at the IYF Center of Thika Road, after the graduates successfully completed a 3-month training course. The ceremony was led by the principal of IYF Weekend Academy, Evans Butiga, and graduates were awarded by Reverend Johan Kim, the chairman of International Youth Fellowship East Africa. The Weekend Academy is a free educational project by International Youth Fellowship to give a platform for the youth to learn and gain basic skills in various courses. For the last 15 years, it has successfully empowered over 10,000 youth to get self-employed and improved skills for already employed human resources. Here are the details.
For the 3-month training course in basic French language by International Youth Fellowship and
The Weekend Academy held its second post-COVID graduation on Sunday at the IYF Center of Thika Road, where a total of 312 students graduated with certificates in various fields of study, cutting across media studies, taekwondo, graphic design, music, foreign languages, among others.
This time, I'll go directly to the awarding ceremony, and we'll do it a little bit different for each class.
International Youth Fellowship Weekend Academy is a 3-month study program that runs for 3 months, teaching soft skills to students who have completed secondary school to anchor them into deep world of career preferences, and some are absorbed into volunteering programs within IYF to practice their newly acquired soft skills.
In the IYF Academy, I have learned so many things, especially about sin, how sin came into the world, that through one man, Adam, we were all counted sinners.
I can now take shots, do some editing on them, or add sounds, add graphics, add colors, and make it complete.
Mindset class was the best, according to me, because we are taught about some things that are not actually seen, but we are taught about how our minds and hearts are connected.
Since 2008, IYF has interacted with over 1.5 million youths in various programs, among them being the Weekend Academy. Post-COVID season, which kicked off on May 2022, marking the first phase since COVID-19, had 156 graduates. The STARS completed second phase, garnered the institution 312 graduates, while the 2023 intake for the 3-month training course commences on the 26th of February 2023 for skills training and capacity building for the youth, with its main objective being skill development and enhancing chance of employability, promoting self-employment. The 2023 intake for the 3-month training course starts on the 26th of February 2023 and will have an orientation day on the 25th of February at 2 p.m. at the IYF Center. The free program is on a first-come, first-served basis courses that reach limited number of trainees and are closed until the next intake. Meanwhile, members of the International Youth Fellowship could not hide their joy after receiving 9 overseas volunteers on Sunday from South Korea to act as civilian diplomats introducing the Korean culture.
My name is Yi Ye-chan. I love Kenya, okay?
In 2002, the Good News Corps began under the slogan of Exchange My Youth for Their Hearts and dispatched 14 overseas volunteers to 10 countries. Now, between 400 to 600 volunteers are dispatched to 84 countries every year. College students spend a year with the local people, learning the mottos of IYF: challenge, change, and cohesion. Beatrice Njeri, GBS News.
And on that note, let's take our second commercial break. And of course, we do have a lot lined up for you. But first, let's take a quick break.
Welcome to Mahanaim International High School. Are you worried about the character of your child? Mahanaim is the best Christian and character building school and offer British National Curriculum, IGCSE O-Level and GCE A-Level and mixed day and boarding school. For more inquiry, call 0710 111 333.
We need to have social places for our older people, and that brought me to having a center, this center where older people come together and they share their experiences.
The founder for an organization called Imarisha Jamii.
I'm the founder, Karika. Karika is an acronym of Kenyan aged people require information, knowledge and advancement.
What prompted you for you to think about the elderly and how they are aging and how your organization is helping them to age with dignity?
We are all human beings created as social animals.
And some of them are depression, and Mr. Elijah would agree with me, it is common because he has covered a broad group of people.
Your organization, is it a place like the home of the elderly, or it's an organization where they just come in, talk, socialize, make friends, because even them want to make friends?
It's a daycare center where they come every day. How do we gift our older people? How do we surprise them?
How the government should come in, and Mr. Jack wanted to support on the same.
Yes. Taken to Sunday schools, and we were taught of Ephesians chapter 6. Ye children, obey your parents. This is the first commandment with a promise.
There are many opportunities for young people out here. So from doing web design, from doing graphic design, making posters, doing branding and such things. So it's like a doorway to the technology world. And when young people come in, especially youth, it's so easy for them because these are computer types of learnings. And computer types of learnings are good with young people because they can think fast, they can learn quickly, and it's a good opportunity to open up young people to the world of graphic design and also to the world of technology.
Everywhere, GBS.
Back and moving forward, Kenyans face increased power costs because water levels in a dam critical to the generation of electricity are too low. As a result, the electricity generating station at Masinga Dam on the border of Embu and Machakos counties may be shut down in the coming weeks because there is not enough water. The Ministry of Energy says the water levels in the dam are too low to allow the continued generation of electricity at the station unless it starts raining soon. The Meteorological Department recently said the expected rains may not bring any reprieve after the prolonged drought that has hit many parts of the country. Shutting down the station may mean Kenyans will pay much more for electricity as the country increases its dependence on the power generated using diesel-powered thermal plants. Power costs have already gone up after the short rains of October to December failed. The extra costs may have been passed to consumers.
We don't dispatch when other generation systems are available so that we can preserve water for the longest time before we get the long rains. So we want to thank you, Kengen, for the good job you are doing. But the truth of the matter, like you have all seen, is that the water levels are very low. We have to basically think about the security, energy security for this country. Those guys who came before us, if you think about the planning that went into this in the 70s, in the 60s, 70s, to deliver the generation in the 80s was really good planning. So even as we sit here today and are concerned about tomorrow, we really need to plan for the 2030s, 2040, and 2050. With the climate change,
a bitter row is simmering between the leadership of Kilifi County over what has been described as a cartel wars that are geared towards control of the current administration led by Governor Gideon Mung'aro. The problem is claimed to have been ignited by the decision of the governor to announce that he would not pay pending bills, as there were some which were not genuine. Let's take a look.
A bitter row is simmering between the leadership of Kilifi County over what has been described as cartel wars that are geared towards control of the current administration led by Governor Gideon Mung'aro. The problem is claimed to have been ignited by the decision of the governor to announce that he will not pay pending bills, as there were some which are not genuine. This after a report by the Auditor General that the county has almost 1.5 billion shillings pending bills, out of which 800 million shillings is unpayable.
They have announced many times, and if they have not heard, they should hear me today. We will finish the cartel business in this county. Yeah? So the sooner they realize that is not it's business unusual, the better. Pending bills, we were told by the Auditor General when we attended IBEC last week that Kilifi County has almost 1.5 billion pending bills, but about 800 million are unpayable because they have no paperwork.
Reports indicates that there are new breeds of cartels who are powerful and have lots of money, but are facing resistance from a section of leadership, a problem which could escalate to worse in the near future. According to some local leaders, the cartels are plotting to impeach Speaker of the County Assembly, Teddy Mwambire, who is seen as a stumbling block to their plans. However, Mwambire has since dismissed such claims, saying he is in good books with the executive and does not see such a plot, but if there is, it will fail.
We are in a very good relationship with the executive. I do consult with the executive, even as today we'll be having a meeting with the governor, so that we can share a few things here and there, so that we make sure that everything is running smoothly. So there's nothing, and I don't expect anything, and members of the public should not even have a doubt or dream of a fallout between the executive and the county assembly.
According to Furaha Chengo, alias Kalama Wehu from Magarini, a local leader and a former ally of the governor, Kilifi is suffering economically due to lack of payment of the pending bills, adding that ghost projects are paid up front, thereby pending bills do not belong to cartels but the local suppliers. Additionally, Chengo pointed out that majority of the suppliers supported the governor during the campaigns with hopes that once he got to power, they would be paid their pending bills. Currently, some suppliers have lost property such as vehicles. Others have been locked out of their houses and they cannot take the children to school because of failure to be paid.
Hii inashangaa Governor Mung'aro anaenda akisema kwamba miradi iliyobaki hapa kulipwa ambayo haijalipwa ni miradi ya makateli. Hakuna kateli. Anaumiza wananchi wa Kilifi. Cha ajabu ni kwamba hata wale ambao walimsupport, wengi wao wale masupplier walimsupport wakijua kwamba wanaenda kuokoa hii Kilifi, wameteswa na ile regime iliyopita, wakijua kwamba wanaenda kukomboa, wao watalipwa wafanye biashara. Cha ajabu hivi sasa hakuna chochote ambacho kinafanyika. Watu wamepokonywa magari, watu wamefungiwa manyumba, watu hawezi kupeleka watoto shule.
Reporting for GBS News, I am James Odhiambo.
And now moving to international news, South Sudan's government has suspended the use of US dollar and instead directed all transactions to be executed in the local currency, the South Sudanese pound, in a move here to stifle economic activity in the war-ravaged economy. Lionel Njok with the details.
A 7-year civil war that ended in the year 2020 affected the country's economy because of the collapse in oil production in areas affected by the conflict. Most transactions in the country are carried out using the US dollar, largely due to the hyperinflation and the volatility of the local currency.
Message to the authorities, most especially the concerned people, most especially the Bank of South Sudan,
due to the announcement of reducing the giveaway of the dollar from 10 to 5 million. I think it's going to affect, and my cry is this really maintain the 10 million so that at least we're able to sustain ourselves.
However, the Bank of South Sudan has banned the use of the greenback and directed that all commercial contracts be signed in the local currency. The largest directive by the Bank of South Sudan deals a major blow to importers, hotels, restaurants, travel, and tour operators, and the operation of the regional banks such as KCB, Equity, Stanbic, and Cooperative, which are struggling to survive in an economy plagued by hyperinflation and political instability. The directive on the use of South Sudanese pound is one of the measures recommended by a committee appointed by the President Salva Kiir to help address the country's economic crisis. The country is the major oil producer in the East African region, but its near total dependency on the oil has made the country a curse.
If you want to pay contractors, you have to collect taxes. And what is happening now, not enough tax is being collected for very reason that they have explained, the issues of leakages, massive ones. We know that also sometimes money don't even arrive at the consolidated accounts.
Due to fees and obligation owed to oil farms, the 170,000 barrels per day production means the country only earns value worth 50,000 barrels of oil per day, with the larger amount going into advance payment on contractual obligations. Lena Lunchok, GBS News.
Rescuers in Turkey pulled out several people alive from collapsed buildings on Monday and were digging to reach a grandmother, mother, and daughter from a single family a week after the country's worst earthquake in modern history. Turkey vowed on Saturday to investigate thoroughly anyone suspected of responsibility for the collapse of buildings in the country's devastating earthquake nearly 1 week ago that has already ordered the detention of 113 suspects. Let's take a look.
President Fuat Oktay said overnight that 131 suspects had so far been identified as responsible for the collapse of some of the thousands of buildings flooded in the 10 provinces affected by the tremors earlier last Monday. He further said the Justice Ministry had established earthquake crime investigation barriers in the quake zone provinces to investigate death and injuries. Environment Minister Murat Karum said that 24,921 buildings across the region had collapsed or were heavily damaged in the quake based on assessment of more than 170,000 buildings. Rescuers were still looking for survivors in the earthquake rubble 6 days after these disasters which hit part of Syria and Turkey. The death toll has exceeded 28,000 and is expected to rise further. Opposition parties have accused President Tayyip Erdogan's government of enforcing building regulation and of misspending special taxes levied after the last major earthquake in 1999 in order to make buildings more resistant to quakes. However, Erdogan has said the opposition just tell lies and spread slander to besmirch the government, obstructing investment instead of facing up to corruption in the opposition-run municipalities. Lena Lunchok, GBS News.
Indeed, it is very devastating, and we do hope that the families do get the help they need, those that were affected by the earthquake. But on that note, let's get to the sports news. For the lovers of sports, we have come to your most anticipated parts of the news. Let's get sporty. Kenya Police Hockey's team and Batali Club made their first winning on the African tourney today at Silk Union in the African Championship for African Hockey, while KCB Rugby Club took another giant leap in their pursuit to conquer the Kenya rugby scenes as they crushed Menengai Oilers with 62 to 15 points at Nakuru Showgrounds. On the other hand, Nairobi City Stars coach Nicholas Muyoti almost lost his job, but City Stars CEO Patrick O'Reilly gave him another chance after showing signs of improvement. Here are the details.
Nairobi City Stars CEO Patrick Corrill says the management and considered sourcing for another coach after a series of poor results from Nicholas Moyoti, considering giving him another chance after showing signs of improvement. City Stars have recorded 10 defeats, 2 draws and 3 wins this season, leaving them on the relegation zone with just 2 points above 16th place Wazito. They will be seeking to redeem themselves as they face Kakamega Homeboys on Sunday. KCB Rugby Club took another giant leap in their pursuit to conquer the Kenya rugby scene as they crushed Menengai Oilers 62-15 in the Kenya Cup duel at Nakuru Showgrounds. The Bankers are now unbeaten in their 9 matches this season. They are on top of the Kenya Cup standings with 45 points, with Kabras Sugar taking the second place with just a point behind them. The Sugar Millers recorded another routine win against Strathmore at Kakamega Showgrounds. African Cup Hockey Club champions got underway today at Silk Union. Kenya Police and Butali Club made their first win on their African Stony. Reliable Kenya Police defender Same Oungo scored the only goal for Police on the 79th minute after penalty shootout and defeated Ipoz of Zimbabwe on a 1-0. Moses Ademba put Butali on the lead on the first minute before Calvin Kamau doubling it on the 36th minute. Derek Wakobundi pulled one back for Jaguars on the 58th minute. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm McDonald.
Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford scored late goals for United on a 2-0 win at Elland Road 4 days after the 2-2 draw at Old Trafford. And on the other hand, Arsenal blamed the VAR after ruling out Ivan Toney's equalizing goal, which was offside. McDonald with the details.
Arsenal went on a 1-1 draw against Brentford on Saturday at Emirates. Ivan Toney cancelled out Leandro Trossard's goal on the 74th minute. Arsenal dominated the match, but it was Brentford who had all the biggest openings, with Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo involved in all the attacks. Brentford went into the game with a 9-game unbeaten run, and Arsenal encounter was among the toughest, though they showed high levels of confidence. However, Brentford goal was mired into controversy after VAR went to check whether there was offside, and despite a number of angles on the incident showing Toney to be offside, the striker's goal was allowed to stand. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was left stunned after Chelsea were denied a clear penalty against West Ham. Chelsea went on a 1-1 draw against the Hammers, securing just a point. The point put Chelsea on the 9th place and 10 points behind Newcastle, who closed the top 4 place. Joao Felix opened the scores for Chelsea on the 16th minute as his first goal for the Blues, before former Chelsea wingback Emerson equalizing on the 28th minute as he ended Jaron Bowen's cross after being left unmarked. Declan Rice scored a goal on the 82nd minute, but he was ruled offside by the VAR. Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho scored less goals for United in a narrow win over 2-0 win against Leeds on a tough encounter at Elland Road. 4 days after the 2-2 draw at Old Trafford, Leeds made things hard for Manchester United as Idacia's Somerville went close in several occasions. United seemed to be a threat on the second half as Diego Dalot hit the crossbar before Rashford netting a bullet hander on the 80th minute and substitute Garnacho doubling it 5 minutes later. United remain on the 3rd place with 46 points, 2 points below second place Manchester City. Liverpool will face Everton today at Emirates on a Premier League clash. Everton stand at the 18th place on the Premier League table, with earlier securing a win over Arsenal just after hiring a new manager. Liverpool, on the other hand, have had a poor result after losing to Wolves on their last encounter. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has confirmed that injured Diogo Jota will return on today's match after being away due to an injury. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm McDonald.
And of course, that note ushers us to the end of our news segment tonight. And of course, do remember to keep the conversation going through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. And of course, not forgetting, tomorrow is the 14th of February. And of course, it is Valentine's Day. And from this side, we do wish you a happy Valentine's. And always remember, here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenke, and good night.
everywhere, GBS.